Margaret, Chuck the Seán Crowe.
Well, Margaret, I suppose there was a lot of scepticism, and prior to the Cardiff conference, a lot of people thought we'd just gone through the motion in relation to it. I think, post it, I think most people that attended, and again I was getting reports back, was that it did certainly help ease tensions coming up to the march at the weekend, the first tour of the North, the so-called tour of the North. And it is right to say that Cardiff, they talked in terms of heard concerns and ideas about resolving difficult issues. Cardiff talked in terms of, as you said, Tánaiste, about lines of communication, political community and policing being open at all times. Unfortunately, at the weekend, we had an incident then in relation to, there was an arrest of a young man. This was post the march in relation to a lot of the tension around the march had eased off at this stage. PSNI went in to arrest this young man. Jerry Kelly, local MLA, went to the area again to try and ease the tension, to get dialogue going, to get communication going, and we had the incident then of them ended up on the side of a Land Rover. Carol Cullen, the minister, being hurt in relation to trying to stop him getting injured and so on. So I suppose it's important that if we come to commitments at conferences, that has to be followed through. And unfortunately, I don't have all the detail. I presume you're looking for a report yourself in relation to it. But the way it's viewed in the area is that, again, it was handled badly in relation to this response. It was heavy-handed. The policing was heavy-handed. The communication that was promised didn't happen. And Alban McGuinness from the SDLP said it was really dangerous, and that he felt that, again, it was over the top what had happened to Jerry Kelly. So I suppose the question is that if we come to commitments at conferences and everyone believes that this has helped, my concern is that if we don't follow through on those commitments and we have incidents like this, that it's actually going to put us back instead of bringing us forward.
Tánaiste.
Well, I think as Deputy Crowe says, I think the important thing here is that we move forward. The Cardiff talks are ongoing, and I understand that there will be further meetings in Belfast, and I think that is to be welcomed. I hope it will ensure that the language used around the parading season, particularly around the 12th, that will be measured and supportive of the difficult responsibilities that the PSNI have during the marching season. My understanding is that it is not intended to continue the Cardiff process beyond the current marching season. My own officials are in daily contact with communities affected by contentious parades, and we work closely with the British side on parading issues. I think it is important that there is dialogue at a local level. I think it's also fair to say that, and I know the incident that you're referring to, Deputy Crowe, but I think it's important that we don't lose overall sight of the necessity to support the police service. This is going to be a difficult period of time, a very sensitive period of time. We know that there are sensitive parades, number in particular, and I think it is important that the amount of provocation, that the amount of tension that is associated with them, that's minimised. I think that can best be done by having a discussion with all concerned. And secondly, of course, it is important that the parades themselves and the aftermath of the parades are appropriately policed.
Thank you, Tánaiste. Chuck the Seán Crowe, 1 minute.
Was the fact that this march, the first of the season in relation to, lays down a marker for what's going to happen in relation to the rest of the season. And I suppose that this tension that came around this incident could have been dealt with better, and I suppose it highlights how far we still have to go in relation to policing. Sinn Féin did have a conference in June in relation to Belfast City of Equals. Matt Baggett was there was other PSNI local officers, unions, community were invited to it, again to discuss on the back of the Cardiff talks that again to discuss policing, community and other issues that were affecting the Unions Committee. So again, commitment there we made in relation to it. So I suppose what I'm saying is that if we, there's a responsibility on us all in relation to this process, but it was a bad beginning in relation to the marching season, and I suppose if anything we learned from Cardiff is that communication needs to be kept open, and I suppose that would be a message I would send particularly to the likes of the Orange Order, that you need to engage with community. We all need to step back and look at our own responsibility in relation, particularly around the marching season and in relation to the whole area of police.
Taoiseach, final reply on this question.
Yes, I think there is a responsibility on everybody concerned to step back and to look at the responsibilities that people have. I think in respect of the Cardiff statement, I think there are a number of elements to it. First is respecting the duty that the PSNI has to uphold the law, and at the same time, as is the case with every police service, to ensure that they are held to account. And the appropriate way to hold them to account is through the Northern Ireland Policing Board. And I think that we need to ensure that in respect of the parading season, that tensions are minimised through discussion and dialogue, and would encourage everybody to involve themselves in that. Secondly, that where the Parades Commission make a determination, that the Parades Commission is supported and its determination is upheld, that there is support for the police service, and of course that the police service is, as all public services are, expected to be held to account, and in this case through the policing board.
Mark Taoiseach.